To get to the truth and leave an impact, sometimes you have to slap someone in the face. Not physically, of course, but with cold, hard facts. Our guest this week has done just that. Midge, working with Fleckish Talks, recently released 3 videos on YouTube. These videos were called Honest PSAs and were aimed at telling the truth about guns, immigration, and most recently, feminism. Actors were sent into the studio to read facts about these topics, and their reactions to the facts were quite telling. Midge, briefly tell us about the idea behind making the Honest PSA. What was its purpose?
Basically, we wanted to make videos that share these facts in an interesting way. And we came up with this concept. And originally, we sort of wanted to mimic a real PSA where we're having people talk about, in one of these celebrity PSAs where they're saying, did you know this fact or, whatever thing that they're pushing in the PSA. But what we tried to do was have real people come in and read these facts and just sort of try to capture their reactions and try to maybe red pill a few people.
And the feminism video was the latest release. Now, in that video, it seemed like compared to the other 2, you had a little pushback from the actors. And it was specifically from a woman who kind of seemed to have this light bulb moment at the end of your video where she said,
I thought this was like a feminist bit. Is this the point of this, really?
How did it seem, I guess, from your perspective as the producer, that the feminism video was different than the gun violence or the immigration topics you covered?
Well, I mean, we had pushback in every situation with all the topics that we recorded. And we actually scrapped one of them on the day of because we felt like, given the way that the other topics were going, we didn't want to push it and be, we didn't want to upset more people. So we kind of pulled back a little bit with that. So what ended up happening in that moment with the feminism video was that one woman was definitely, what you think of as a modern kind of 3rd, 4th wave feminist. And she was really challenged for sure. So I don't know if she necessarily got the message, and there was a lot more to her interview, but I think we were actually really fair with what we showed in that kind of her pushback with that and that conversation, how it went.
Now that the 3 videos are all out on YouTube, so everyone can go check them out, what has been kind of the reaction overall? I guess maybe from the actor's perspective, but also what kind of reaction have you gotten from the viewers?
The viewers have loved it. It's been pretty awesome. Austin's videos have, he reaches a really wide audience, and I think people are really familiar with his work and kind of what he's trying to do with exposing some of the, liberal media bias and sort of what's being shown and on TV, and sort of providing an alternative, outlet.
In these videos, you want to educate, we want to educate with our videos, and most importantly, I think we all want the truth. What is it going to take, do you think, for truth-telling to become the norm again? Because clearly, we see that in the mainstream media, truth is not being told.
No, we're not. And that's really sad. And I mean, me personally, it's been a challenge because a lot of time people will say, that's a hate fact. And really all you're saying is a fact. And it shouldn't be whether or not it upsets someone or, it's a tough reality. But if we can't even speak about things that are true, I mean, it's a sick, sad world we live in. And I face it every day here in San Francisco where I feel like I can't say what I'm thinking because people aren't willing to hear it, or I'm going to be seen as some kind of bigot or something.
Yeah, and because you live out on the West Coast, it's kind of a different perspective than what maybe the rest of us are seeing either in the Midwest or even out on the East Coast. Talk a little bit about the uniqueness, I guess, that is California in general.
I mean, California is crazy. All the things that you see on the news that are going on out here are absolutely going on. So, I live in San Francisco, and the clips that you see with our homeless, with the drug abuse on the streets, it's all true. And I mean, it's unbelievable to me that people tolerate that and that our politicians, keep creating laws and passing these regulations that don't actually help these problems. So right now I'm sort of really involved and interested in, we have an upcoming election for mayor of San Francisco on June 5th. And it's just fascinating to me because there's 7 Democrats running in this election and 1 Republican. And it's funny because it's like you have 7 people and they're all basically pushing the same thing, but they're all claiming to be different. So kind of California in a nutshell, I guess.
All right. So, Midge, what are some of the projects that you're working on now that you have released these 3 videos? And I know you've been tagging up a lot with Austin of Fleckis Talks and doing some of his Fleckis Talks videos out on the streets. But what else do you have in the works for us?
Yeah, so, my backstory is I'm a filmmaker. That's sort of my world. I'm a filmmaker and I was an actress in LA for a long time. And I decided, sort of around the same time Austin did after the election, that now is the time that we really need to win our culture back. And, basically the left has completely dominated our media, our academia, our entertainment and Hollywood and everything. And we have to kind of swing that back. And luckily there's channels that are on YouTube where people can become informed or hear other opinions and other ways of thinking about things. And so, yeah, that's basically what we're trying to do. Austin and I have a number of projects coming up. We have been, basically I don't want to talk about it without him kind of being where he wants to be with it. But, we've got some exciting projects coming up. And as well as, now I'm kind of helping a friend produce a podcast. I'm more of, I don't know, I guess maybe I enjoy being behind the scenes a little bit more and helping to produce this kind of content. So hopefully we'll be releasing more things soon.
All right. Well, we look forward to seeing what you have in the works for us, as well as what Austin's working on. And we'll take a look at YouTube. So, Midge, thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you for having me.